I come to the floor shaken and deeply saddened, as we are all, by the loss of our colleague, my good friend and ally, the senior senator from New Jersey, Senator Frank Lautenberg. When I think of Senator Lautenberg, I think of the word tenacity. Frank Lautenberg was tenacious. When he had a setback, he always got right back into the game. He was tenacious in life as he was here in the Senate, where that tenacity paid off for the people of New Jersey and for the nation. When he had a setback with cancer, he did not let himself take 1 minute more than he had to before he got right back up and went right back at it. I'll always remember his tenacity, a strength of will, and an unshakable resolve that helped him in his own life and in making life better for others. Frank Lautenberg loved the Senate. He loved his job. And the people who elected him time and time again, 5 times, in fact, the longest-serving senator from the state of New Jersey, the people he cared deeply about, working families, seniors, single moms, hardworking folks, who trusted him always to be on their side, and he was. He was a man for New Jersey, a man for his time, one of the greatest generation, the last in the Senate to have served in World War II. And his story was a quintessential American story. His father, Sam, worked in the silk mills of Paterson, New Jersey. He sold coal, he farmed, he once ran a tavern. Frank lost his father to cancer when he was 19, and he learned the lesson of hard work, having to take on a job at nights and weekends until he graduated from Nutley High School, when he joined the Army and went to Europe. And when he came back, he went to Columbia University on the GI Bill. He understood the value of that opportunity given to him as a veteran of this country from World War II, and he extended that forward when he later got to co-author the new 21st century GI Bill. And he got a degree in economics. Now, anyone who knew Frank Lautenberg knew that he was destined to make something of himself, and he did. He joined 2 of his boyhood friends to found a very successful business, ADP, and he did it well. But if losing his father, working his way through high school, going to war, starting a business, making a success of himself wasn't enough, he wanted to give something back. He was very comfortable in life, and he could have said, I'm going to enjoy this hard work and sacrifice that has brought me to this comfortable stage in life. But he considered himself lucky, and he wanted to help others. And that's why he ran for office. It's why he served, and it's why the people of New Jersey kept electing him. New Jerseyans loved and admired him for what he did for this nation, what he did to help them, and every American build a better life for themselves and their families. And in death, those accomplishments and the love and admiration New Jerseyans have always had for Frank Lautenberg will not diminish. Whether it was his landmark drunk driving law, co-authoring the 21st century GI Bill, introducing the toxic right-to-know law that empowered the public to know what pollutants were being released into their neighborhood, he gave something back to all of us. We can talk about how hard he fought for the victims of Superstorm Sandy this year. Even in illness, came back to the Senate to try to make sure that New Jerseyans and all those who suffered from Superstorm Sandy were taken care of. Or how he worked to make the Paterson Great Falls a national park from his hometown that he loves so dearly. But above all, he was Mr. Transportation here in the Senate. Whether it was roads or bridges, airlines, or the rail system, he believed in having the best and safest transportation system in the world. And when it comes to air travel, he was way ahead of his time when it comes to safety. Let's not forget that it was Frank Lautenberg who ended the dangers of smoking on airlines so none of us would be subjected to sitting in an airplane cabin in a smoke-filled aircraft of the dangers of smoking on a plane. And today, when I took the Amtrak from Newark to Union Station, I thought through most of that ride of Frank. I remembered how many times he came to this floor to fight for America's railways, how much he believed in the importance of rail travel and what it meant to keeping this nation's transportation system competitive. But given all of those accomplishments, it still would not adequately reflect the gift of governing he gave this nation and the 9,000 votes he cast in this chamber. Maybe not all of them made the headlines, but they made a difference for every American family. And with each of those votes, Frank Lautenberg helped shape the history of America, not just for his time, but for generations to come. You know, but when I think of Frank, I also certainly not only look back to the fact that he was part of that greatest generation, a World War II veteran, but I also think that Frank may have left us too soon at the age of 89 because he never missed a beat. He lived in the moment. I remember about 3 years ago, he and his wife Bonnie celebrated his 86th birthday in January in what some might say is an unusual way. Frank wanted to spend his birthday with his favorite singer. He was a fan of Lady Gaga and wanted to celebrate his birthday, so he and Bonnie went to Radio City Music Hall for Lady Gaga's Monster Ball Tour. No, Frank was not yesterday's news. He was always about today's news, and he lived in the moment. But that moment is gone now. We remember it well, and we're lucky to share that moment with him. It goes by all too quickly, but the memories last forever. His accomplishments will last forever. He touches the lives of people well beyond his death. And our image of what it means to learn, to live, to earn, and then give something back will never be forgotten because it lives in Frank Lautenberg's legacy to this chamber, this nation, and to the people of my home state. There's a quote from the Old Testament, from Daniel chapter 12, and it says, "Many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, and the wise shall shine brightly like the splendor of the firmament, and those who lead the many to justice shall be like the stars forever." Frank Lautenberg stood for justice in all of its forms. For every American, every day he served in this chamber, and his memory shall be like a constellation showing us the way. Today, we say thank you, Senator Lautenberg, for a life well lived and a job well done. Thank you on behalf of a grateful state and nation. Our deepest thoughts and prayers are with his wife Bonnie and his entire family. I know we will miss him as they will miss him, as the nation will miss his incredible work. With that, Mr. President, I yield the floor and observe the absence of a